Hey, what's going on, gamers? It's your host, Valentine, and welcome to another episode of Embers of History. Episode number 3, and we're gonna do things a little differently. And I figured I'd go over kind of like almost like a roamer's edition of kind of zerging-ish, because I was kind of roaming, and I'm just kind of following a zerg, and so as a roamer, just kind of joining in with the group, doing some fights and whatnot. So let's get on screen here, and let's go view our first clip. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out is I know some of y'all are looking at my skill bar right now. Okay. Yes, I am running a Celestial Signet Catalyst. To my understanding, this is a very AIDS build. Okay, so before you start judging, this was the first time I actually ran this particular build. I pulled this build off of hardstuck.gg. I actually do not like using this build. This is almost like and this is a bit of a side tangent. It's almost like a one-trick pony kind of thing, where it's like it's pretty easy to counter. Anybody who's a skilled player will be able to counter this build very easily. CC spam, if you got a lot of CC spam, this build's cooked. And I actually, just in my experience, I actually really didn't like using this build. I do like some of the Signet passives. I kind of want to tweak it a little bit. And maybe change out some of the traits too. But anyhows, that note aside, for these set of clips, I am actually... I originally intended to just do some roaming, which is why I'm using this build. Now, came across this tag, and so I decided to just tag along, while also not really being a part of the group. Just tag along for some of the fights and stuff. And because I never particularly used this build before, I figured I would just give it a shot here. So here we go. We are coming up on a group of reds here, and we just look like we're just a ragtag team of players, is what it looks like here. So we're gonna go on through. We're gonna cross this bridge, and their spawn is actually just right over there. So red spawn is just right over there, and we're kind of just pushing them back. Okay, so they got a really good retreat strategy to try to kite some of the players here. Unfortunately, this poor red dude just got left behind in the dust. That was a clone. Never mind. That was a clone. Scratch what I just said. Anyhow, moving on. So we're engaging, and we are... okay, look. If you look at it from just a strategical standpoint, there is no strategy right now. This is we're just a bunch of players hitting our buttons. If anybody has the most strategy, it's the Reds. The Reds have the most strategy currently at this point in time, because they're grouped up. They're trying to coordinate. We're just spamming abilities at this point. So we're going through here. And we're just kind of... We're a mob, but we're an effective mob. And I don't know what this other group is using here. But we're pushing them back. And once again, I always like to reiterate, whenever the commander is moving, whoever the commander is, assuming that the commander is here somewhere in the middle, it creates this tail. And as the tail is getting created because the commander is moving back, people who are at the edge of those at the edge of the tail, they are going to get picked off. More than likely, they're going to get picked off. So I like that move, what he did there, or she. I like the move that the commander made there. The commander actually made a push forward to try to mitigate the tail. I did like that move. That was a really good move and a really good play to try to compensate for the fact of, like, it's kind of like this ebb and flow. When you go to move, unless you can move fast enough as a group, this is the kind of movement that you kind of want to do. It is a very slow, patient kiting, because you can't necessarily kite like you would if you were necessarily roaming out in the world. You know, if you're roaming somewhere and you come across a group of 3 people, you can aggressively kite away from those 3 people. But if you're in a group, and so here's, I'm gonna use a outside analogy. So I ride motorcycles. For those who are wondering, yeah, I ride it's a 2024 Yamaha R7. It's blue. It's amazing. I really like it. So to try and illustrate a contrast here, when you're riding in a motorcycle, if you're by yourself, you ride a particular way, kind of on your own. But if you're in a group ride, say, you know, you've got a group of 6 or 7 other additional riders along with you, and you have to move as a group. So let's say you want to change lanes. So you're in the right-hand lane, you want to go to the left. If you were by yourself, you could just, you know, hit your signal, do a quick little shoulder check, move over to the left lane when it's clear. In a group ride, you have to compensate with the fact that everyone has to, so when you initiate the lead, everyone else has to kind of flow along with you. So you have to compensate for that kind of space. You can't just abruptly move over into the left lane and expect everyone else to kind of move along there with you. You kind of have to do it as a group. This is almost the same. I'm drawing the two, or that I'm paralleling that illustration with what's going on here. What's going on here is that when you move as a group, you want to try to move as a group, because not everybody can move as quickly or as fast. If you're by yourself, if you're roaming, you can kind of go wherever you want. You can move in whatever direction you want. You can kite away kite away as fast as you'd like. In a group setting, you can't just, you know, say, hey, everyone kite, because not everybody moves at the same speed. And then you also have to account for, like, especially if they're using Discord comms, there is a 2-second delay when they make the call out. So whenever commander is saying kite, commander is already moving. By the time that the voice actually reaches the ears of the rest of the Discord call, he's already moving. And then you have that 2-second delay that you have to account for, so they're moving in 2-second delays after he's saying that, when he's already moving, if that makes any sense. So the reason why I say that was a really good move on the red team, for them to kind of pull back and then immediately go back into the tail, that was a high level play right there. Because that not only does that reinforce the tail, but then it kind of gives an initial way forward, so they can actually really, they can do a good push here, just with that move alone. Because we're sitting there and we're chasing them. If they suddenly turn tail, and then they regather with their tail, now they kind of reinforce themselves, and we are so busy trying to chase them, and they could easily just steamrollers right there and then, because then we can't react to that fast enough, because if they all group up together, they can react together and they can accomplish together in a very quick succession, and then we just kind of, so it's either we react quick enough to their immediate reinforcement. It's like how am I trying to, okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to explain this way. If you're running and you're chasing somebody, right, and say that person that you're chasing suddenly stops, turns around to then confront you, and you're still running at that momentum, you either have to continue the momentum, or you have to have enough reaction time to be able to be prepared for their counter, because they can easily turn around and take a swing at you, and you're not prepared for it because you were so busy trying to chase them. Does that make any sense? I hope that made sense. So look at that. They reinforced very nicely, and then they kind of, so what they did here is that they regathered with their tail, and now they're moving back. This is excellent movement. Hats off to the red team for doing this. This is excellent, excellent movement. This is exactly the kind of behavior that you'd want to see in your commander squads. And you'll also notice, like, we have to give red credit where credit is due here. They are doing a fantastic job moving back. You know, they're doing it kind of slowly. They're kind of moving a few feet, stopping, moving a few feet, stopping. This is excellent movement. As far as movement is concerned, they are doing a fantastic job with their movement, because it keeps the tail, it mitigates the tail, and it keeps everyone tight. This way, and when they keep everyone tight, you can keep those healing skills and stability skills going. Because at this point, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do a bit of a retreat / kiting. And what's crazy too is seeing how spread out we are. If they wanted to and take the risk, they could very easily advance up through the center and split us off, and then focus on, say, either the right or left side. I mean, they could have really turned this around. And then they said, screw it. They lost too many numbers. Their movement is still really good, but now they just don't have the numbers. Now they're getting cleaned out here. They just don't have the numbers here. But as far as like the movement is concerned, the red team's movement was fantastic. They ebbed and flowed. They mitigated the tail as much as they possibly could. They didn't have the numbers to push us. We probably outnumbered them maybe by at least 10. And I'm just kind of going based off of visually. I don't really know for sure. Again, I'm not actually part of this squad, so I don't know the actual squad count. It would tell you a squad count if you joined, but I didn't join because I'm Roman, and I'm trying out this Celestial Rome build. And so at this point, it just kind of cleans them up, and like that's it. So that was a pretty good clip, and I mean, really the big kind of takeaway from there is movement. Movement is always important. Yes, builds are important. Yes, pressing your buttons, that's also very important. Yes, coordination and comp is important to have and keep in mind. We are specifically highlighting the movement aspect that was displayed on the Reds. Um, they did a fantastic job with that one, and that's just something to keep in mind. And now, let us check out clip number 2. Alright, so here we are, game. It's a little bit later in the night. And once again, we've got reds, as you can see, stacking up over at the rock there to the left-hand side. We see them, they see us. We all know what's about to go down. Oh, there's a green. There's one of our guys. He just got taken out. He got took out by the mob, bro. Okay, so they immediately retreated. Now, if I had to take a stab at this, this is a particularly small group. Now, I'm looking at some of the tags here, and a lot of these tags are the same. So this is these people kind of know each other. They're in the same guild. Crew is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of crew. Now, I don't know who crew is, but that's what's up. Yep, so we help out this guy who tried to get into there. Now, if I had to take a stab at this, we definitely have more numbers than they do. But I do like, once again, that they advanced backwards to their spawn. This was a good move on them. They saw our size. They know that they basically have a few numbers. But again, it's not all the time. It's not always a numbers game. Not all the time. So they are looking to challenge. They're looking for an opening. Now notice, in my previous episodes, I'm always talking about how everybody should stay tight on commander. Okay, you have most of these support skills have a 300 radius area of effect. When you actually look at how much 300 radius actually is, this is a very tight, small bubble. So if you look at how everyone is very well spread out from tag right now, because tag is supposed to be, that's supposed to be the commander right there, and we're supposed to be in a typical commanding squad unit. You have to just be bubbled up on top of commander, basically. Now again, this is a bit of a roamers edition, because I don't know how many of these people are actually part of the group or part in his squad, and how many of these people are just like what I'm doing, and we're just roamers. We're roamers, and we are looking to delete players off this server. And now look at this. This is oh man. I can't. This blows me away. This is stunning. Okay. This, if I'm not mistaken, actually, you know what? I don't know how this plays out, but so we're just going to play this play by ear. I don't remember if this was a win or loss. But looking at this opening right now, yeah, my character's doing the shrug. I forgot I did that. I'm doing the shrug. This is the, I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Commander just jumped right in the middle of that. Okay, he's just like, he don't care. This guy is running in there, and he don't care. He just wants to take names, and that's it. Normally, this is not a good strat. This will definitely, in better setup groups, this would eliminate you. Easily eliminate you. This is like, this blows me away. And we're all so spread out, too. So he jumped in, survived, kind of backpedaled a little bit here, and now they're kind of going in. Reds are now going in on basically all these roamers. And at this point, they've got the strats. And we're just hitting them with 8s. So once again, we're gonna make note that their movement is fantastic. They're sticking together. They're slightly kiting back here. Their movement is very well coordinated. And then everyone else here, I mean, Commander's all the way over on the right-hand side. Everyone's just kind of in their own separate little bubbles here. If anything, Red's got the moves. They don't got the... They don't have the builds. They don't have the skill. They don't have the abilities right now, because this... I'm looking on how things are turning out right now. It looks like that we actually successfully pushed them back here. This, we should not have won this. They've got movement down. They've got the tightness down. We should not have won this. Okay, Commander just went down there. Look at this. Their movement is fantastic here. But they just don't have... It's either a bad comp or they just don't have the skill to take on just a bunch of randoms. I mean, look, realistically, we're about evenly numbered here. And they even have spawn advantage. Because their spawn is literally right there. And look, we break them up. Now they're fleeing at this point, because now there's no point in trying to keep it tight. And now we're just farming them. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Those shouldn't have worked. In both instances of the clips that you just saw there, that is a very... That's not something you come across often in World Free World. Maybe that's just my experience. But just based off of this, I mean, I've played World versus World long enough to know that this is not the often case. Roaming groups like that typically don't work. And I say typically don't work usually just because there is a lack of cohesion, there is a lack of coordination, and there is a lack of comp, because when you have a bunch of roamer groups kind of put together, you know, most of these people are spec'd out for roaming small scale fights. And even though, yes, technically these were smaller scale fights, the red team just had more of that kind of bubble-esque setup where everyone was kind of bunched in, whereas our team, I mean, dude, everyone was kind of spread out. Like, and it was kind of everyone for themselves, you know, take out who you can take out and, you know, move on with your merry day. Most cases don't work. I mean, even in small scale, it's just, it's actually incredible to me that we actually, and you know, I should remember this, but this was, because that recording was taken last night, and, you know, there's so many things that happen, so it does, not all of it retains, but this is why we go back and we go look at the footage and we analyze and we try to take away, that's the whole point of the series. We try to take away an understanding and be like, huh, so I see that this works, I see that this doesn't work, and these are more or less things to just keep in mind. as you play the game, as you kind of do your thing, just kind of keep it in the back of your head. You don't have to like keep the analytical focus up front because you want to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. But these are things to kind of keep in mind, just kind of ringing in the back of your head of being like, oh, okay, so this worked out because of, possibly this, that, and the other. And this is why it's always kind of cool to always kind of record your sessions, even if you don't upload them, just to kind of go back through and be like, what happened here? What took place? And what could have they have done differently? What could have we have done differently? Because you want to try and put yourself in the position of both your squad and the opposing squad. So if the opposing squad beats you, try to put yourself in their position and analyze what they were doing to try to recreate and reconstruct, okay, what happened on your squad that didn't go so well. But vice versa, viewing it in your squad and you take the victor, then you analyze their squad and you go, okay, so what did they do right and what did they not do right? Or what could have been missing? Even if they had everything done correctly right, they had the movement, they had the builds, they had the coordination, and yet they still lost. Okay? Was this a terrain factor? Was it a spawn advantage? Was there something else that contributed towards the squad's loss? Was there lag? Was there a miscommunication? Perhaps they're testing new builds and these builds just are trash and they ain't working. A lot of different factors to kind of keep in mind. And again, I go over this because I think a little bit more analytically. Not everybody thinks that way, and I understand that. I just kind of giving you a window into how I think about things and how I look at things, and then I try to share that view with the rest of y'all. So that'll do it for this episode. If you found it helpful, found it enjoyable, do all the things, share, like, comment, let me know what you all think about this. And I always appreciate some sort of feedback. So if there's something specific that you want me to cover or go over, or maybe there's something that I can add, like if you guys are asking for, maybe more of a DPS log kind of thing, I can look into that. Just kind of like, throw out some feedback, throw out some suggestions. If you like what you see so far, sweet. Otherwise, say hi to your neighbor, be kind to one another, and always remember that Jesus Christ is our only hope for salvation. Till then, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.